Hey, welcome along. Yay, you're here. Been waiting for you. What took you so long? Oh, I had to get online. That's what took you so long. Well, hi, welcome. It's Tuesday evening. So, time to talk about youth ministry, ministry with children, ministry with families. For those who may not know, might be new, I'm Richard Moores, Children's Youth and Families Pastor for Southside Uniting Church. Southside Uniting Church is one congregation on many sites. So we meet in Yeronga, Tarragindi, Holland Park and Mount Gravatt, all of which were cared for by the Yagara and the Turrbal people. And so we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We hope that we will walk carefully on the land God had created as they have walked carefully and cared for this land. So it's a bit about who we are and who I am. So welcome. As always, great to have people tuning in. So we do this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. You can tune in live or you can tune in later. All good. It's always good to have people along. One of the things we do each week is we have a movie quote. Now, I can't remember exactly what I said last week. I have a feeling I might have slightly misquoted. So it should have been, "You shall not pass." I might have said "none shall pass." My bad. But nobody got it or guessed it. Had a couple of guesses, but not right. Sorry. So it was from Lord of the Rings. Oh, yes, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, the first movie. So that's all right. So just a bit of fun we have each week. And if you get the movie quote correct, you can win a prize. It might be a furry friend. Or because my darling Woofle likes them, she can get strawberry Freddos. Because some people don't like or are allergic to chocolate, they can get white chocolate or something else. It's prizes galore. Or you can get the ultimate prize that I always offer to my youth group. A warm, fuzzy feeling deep down inside that no one can ever take away. It's a lovely prize. So, there you go. So, this week, movie quote. So we're talking about celebration, particularly the celebration part for Messy Church. So again, we've been working through Messy Discipleship, which looks at how do we do discipleship within Messy Church, which equates over into the rest of ministry. And so we've looked at their 5 key characteristics, cores. Or we've looked at 4 of them. So we've talked about Christ-centered, that we want our ministry to be centered around Christ and focusing on who Jesus is, that we want it to be all age and that intergenerational type element that you're probably sick of hearing me talk about. But you're going to continue to hear me talk about. Creativity, that, we need to be creative and allow others to be creative. And hospitality, that we need to treat everyone like royalty. So, which can be a challenge. I know. I was challenged on Thursday. It's going to be nice to one particular person. They came along and started being grumpy, and it's like, I'm just not in the mood for being nice to you. Then as the day went on, it's like, I'm still going to be nice to you. And so did something nice for them. But that can be really hard to treat them like royalty in that special space. Today we talk about celebration, which is an important part of Messy Church. So Messy Church, you gather and have a little bit of a snack, a bit of gathering time. Then you move in to do crafts and other activities around tables. And the people coming along will head around the tables, and each table will have someone who's there to look after the table, and particularly to explain the craft, but also to engage in a question. So if you're doing and of course at this point my mind goes blank. There was one that I was looking at. If you're doing the story of Jesus calming the storm, and you're on the table that has the activity of let's see what things float and what things sink, and you talk about what does it mean to float and to trust God and have God in those ways and allow God to float your life. And so you have these discussions. Then you go into what's called the celebration, which is a time of looking at the Bible story, songs, prayer. And then after celebration, you move into the meal. Every male's favourite part. So we're looking at celebration today. So movie quote for today is, "Play it again, Sam. Play as time goes by." It's probably more, "Play it again, Sam. Play as time goes by." I think if I'm doing the right thing. So where did that come from? Oh, that's an old one. That's old. I haven't actually seen it, so can't think that I'm old just because I know it. I got it off a website. So if it's a misquote, blame the website. But play it again, Sam. Play as time goes by. And no, Kylie, it's not as time goes by. The TV show. It's a great TV show. Anyway, celebration. So, this is written by Martin Payne, who's formerly part of the BRF, the Bible Reading Fellowship. This is Messy Church team. Martin Payne has a background in Bible storytelling and leading all-age worship, and is passionate about the blessing that comes when generations explore faith together. What a wonderful man. I'd love to be that be your description. Maybe one day people will think that about me. Who knows? Well, you're here. So, and he starts with playful discipleship in the celebration. And so that sense of when we come, and it's called celebration, we come to celebrate. You celebrate a life. So he says, we celebrate a birthday party. We celebrate a life at a funeral. We celebrate a national day with pageantry. We celebrate an achievement with a medal. We celebrate communion in church. We celebrate with music, story and prayers in Messy Church. So that sense of as we come, and as we come to any service on Sunday, or whatever time of the week you have your services, there should be that sense of togetherness, joyful thankfulness, and honouring someone or something being God. So that's how do we come to church with an idea of we're coming to celebrate. I think most of us come to, we're coming to church and this will be, try and push through. But how do we get that sense of we're coming to celebrate? We're coming to celebrate this God that we follow. We're coming to celebrate the love that he has for us. How do we tie that into what we do? And so that's the thinking around why they picked that name or why it's one of their cores. We come to celebrate this God. We celebrate the character of God. I love it. I love this. He says, we worship a party-throwing God. A God who is like a shepherd rejoicing over finding his wayward sheep. Like the woman gathering with her friends to rejoice over the coin she's found. And like the father laying on a feast for his long-lost son. This sense of being honoured, even treated by God, as a celebrity in a celebration should be part of what is happening when we gather as church. Have you thought of that? Wow, we come to church and we're coming to celebrate. We're coming to have a great time. Tend to church very dour or very sombre. I know I've worked with churches that's the feel you're meant to have. This is very serious. We're coming to worship the God of the universe, and obviously this is the God that throws parties. I think I've said before, I was reading in a commentary once and it was talking about, Jesus was very sombre and dour, and I thought, no, not my Jesus. My Jesus is at a party. He goes, wine's running out, I'll make more, and I'll make really good stuff. This isn't cask wine, this is, the top-notch stuff, which I'd say what that was, but I'm not a drinker, so champagne or something, Dom Perignon of the Middle Eastern world. So here we have this party God, this celebrating God, and do we come in with a sense of we're coming to party, we're coming to celebrate? Or do we come in going, this is the worship time, and this is all very... How do we change our thinking? How do we bring it alive? He talks about traditional discipleship has been around the sermon and the focusing, and this is the key bit, and the sense of the sense that the normal church would go was, okay, well, the celebration time at Messy Church, this is when we get real. All the other stuff's been nice fluff. Now we get real, and now we hit the sermon. And of course, in Messy Church, there's no sermon. You might look at the story, you might have some questions about it, but like celebration time, 5-10 minutes. Song, story, song, prayer, gun, closed, go for dinner. Which would make some people uncomfortable. Where's the big teaching? Where's the boom, boom, boom? But the thing is, been teaching the whole day. As you're sitting at the table doing your craft, you're hopefully talking about the story. And so that sense of the celebration time is the wrapping together of all those threads. And so as I was thinking about this today, how does our service on Sunday become the wrapping together of the threads of what we've been doing in wrestling with this passage throughout the week? So in our preloading, so with the word term like preloading, I should know about what was the best wine that Jesus could make. But the sense of we've started to wrestle from Monday, hopefully, with the Bible reading. Midweek video, our children have wrestled a bit more. Possibly through Jaffa or Brigades, they've wrestled with it again. So come to Sunday, this is the wrapping together of these thoughts that you've had. You've been thinking about these things. And now we bring them together. Not to, now I come with the correct answers and, which can be the struggle of, and struggle for ministry leaders. It's the struggle in the small group. It's like, I don't sit and wait for you all to give your answer, and then I give you the correct answer. A good small group leader, it's like, well, sometimes I'll give you the answer last, sometimes I'll give the answer in the middle and let others answer because I'm not just giving you the right answer. How do we allow in our worship services that space to, you've done some thinking about this passage. What have you learned? What do you bring that we can learn from? And what do I bring that we can learn from? And how do we share that? That was my big thinking for today. Sort of, again, these things, they help me to process what I'm reading or what I'm doing and help me to think through and go, oh, this is how it might play out. So how do we play that out? So how do we, in the evening service, how does that become the wrapping together of what has been done during the week? And yes, I share some teaching about it, but others. And hopefully that's part of what we're doing. Starting to see how we wrap together the things that people, and have that discussion about, this is what we've discovered. Probably means being more intentional about, well, what are the questions that we ask on Monday? How do we return to that on Sunday and go, well, here's a jumping off point. We left you with this question. What have you discovered about this question? And now we can build on that. There you go. There's some thoughts, some thinking. I've been thinking. But yes, how do we worship and celebrate through stories and through the Bible stories? Jesus loved to tell stories. How do we tell stories? How do we capture people with stories? He talks about in Acts, they gather together and they devote themselves to the apostles' teaching. The early days, what was the apostles' teaching? It wasn't, well, this is the theological point that Paul is making and we should do this. The apostles' teaching would have been, Jesus told us this. And this day we were out in this boat and a storm came. Well, let's tell you what happened. It would be the stories about what Jesus did. How are we telling stories? How are we grasping that? And that power of story. And so hopefully what I was trying for on Sunday night was a movement from looking at Deuteronomy and that sense of God calls us to, and Moses calls us to hold on to that truth of Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and strength. I've added an extra one in there, haven't I, Rod? There's only 3. So that sense of we hold on to that, but we're to pass that on to our children. There's that sense of passing on the story of faith. And then, so we move from there through notices that you've got to do into sharing where have we seen God. And from the stories of where we've seen God, then to move to the table of communion, of sharing that story of Jesus' sacrifice. So we go from, we are to share stories. Here's our stories. Here's the story. So that was the movement I was thinking of. Don't know if we've pulled it off of people working out. That was how the pattern was going, and the pattern worked. But that was the thinking. So how do we take those stories and how do we use and share those stories? So they craft our worship. So they craft our celebration time. He talks about all age stuff. You knew he was going to say that, weren't they? Then he talks about prayer and that importance of praying as part of Messy Church. And part of the skill in Messy Church is helping people who otherwise may not pray. This is a way to pray. And doing that in an intentional way. Teaching simple prayers. Teaching prayers that can be repeated. Stuff like that. So how are we thinking about prayer in our services? And one of the things I struggle with in Southside is in some congregations, you have a set person who's doing the prayers of the people for that week. And there's that sense of sometimes, you want that freedom to go, well, that's nice, but we're doing something else where it's actually interactive and gets everybody to pray in a way. And so teaches them a way that we can pray. Hey, we're going to take a rock and we're going to reflect on that and think about the hard things in this world and what does that mean? And you could take that rock home and you could do the same thing at home. Or, we're going to get a bit of paper and we're going to get coloured pencils and you're going to draw in a mood, and your mood might change and you grab a different colour and just doodle with that colour. And then when I'm happy and I'm thinking about, then I think about this person who's sick and maybe I put some green in there and that makes me feel sad, so I get some blue. And how do we do things like that allow people to experience and go, I can take this home and do this, as opposed to, we get the next person up, the person on the roster up, and they do say a lovely prayer that, I'm never going to be able to pray like that, so obviously I'm hopeless. It's those challenges of, yes, broadening and allowing other people to have roles, but also how do we have that flexibility to be training people to do things? Not that church should be... See, I'm wondering, I don't like the sermon about all teaching, so should it all be training? No, but it's about experiencing, and as I experience here, then I can experience elsewhere. I'll have a think whether I'm being hypocritical or not. Who knows? We're all allowed to be a little bit hypocritical every now and again, aren't we? Thank you. No one said no. Excellent. We'll continue on. So how do we teach people prayers? Short prayers. So he talks about, why not use memorable one-line prayers like Luke 11:1, Lord, teach us to pray. Wouldn't that be a great? Mark 9:24, Lord, help us to believe. That prayer that the man with the son who has the demon in it that's causing him like epilepsy type thing, Lord, I believe, help me in my unbelief. What a prayer. We pray that one. I think I've said before, Dietrich Bonhoeffer says, yes, that's the prayer you pray every morning. Lord, I believe, help me in my unbelief. I've woken up this morning, sort of believe in you. No, it's going to fail through the day, so help me to believe. 1 Samuel 3:9, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. 2 Chronicles 20:12, Lord, we do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you. How do we teach people these little prayers? That, okay, you struggle, Lord, I do not know what to do, but my eyes are on you. I'm hoping that you're going to lead my way, even though I don't know where I'm going. How do we teach our people these little things that they can hold on to? And then, of course, he talks about singing, because, yay, singing's there. And, of course, the joys of any church, the variety of music. And what music do you use? He talks about, for some, it's very much, they go for the kids type music. For others, it's the new, latest music. For others, it's somewhere in the middle. How do we use music that's appropriate? And he talks about thinking about music, and you've probably picked up from me, that's one of my big hobby horses. We need to think about what is the music that we're using, and how does it speak into what we're saying? Because music has that impact. Sure, I've told you this story before. John Bell. Too many bells. Ding dong. John Bell of Iona Community talks about a time when he was in Australia and in Taree, and he's asked, come along and speak at this men's Bible studies. Oh, that's fine. When is it? Tomorrow morning. It's 6 or 7 or something. He's like, yes, fine. So he decides, we'll just look at the passage that he's up to in his Bible reading. It's the story of Lazarus. And so he says, I'll read this out, and if there are any questions, just ask. So he reads out the passage, and someone puts their hand up. Yes. And he says, well, it said there Jesus was angry. Well, what's the Greek word there? And John Bell's like, well, this time of the morning, I'm lucky to know the English, let alone the Greek. But then he talks about how it's the same Greek word as when James and John's mother comes and asks, can they be the most important? And the rest of the disciples are angry. And afterwards, he gets a chance to talk to this man. And the guy's like, well, that can't be right, because Jesus was never angry. There's the hymn, never a terse word the Lord spoke. And so it's that sense of, we get our theology, we get our understanding of God, for some people, from our hymns and the things we sing. So how are we careful about what we pick? So Sunday morning, we didn't do it in the evening because I thought it was going to be really a big push. But Sunday morning, like we had the sermon, then offering notices, and then moved into communion. The song before communion, to move us into that, was Tell Us the Old Story. Really old hymn. But was that sense of, again, it was the song in the place of the where have you seen God questions. It's that we've been talking about sharing that story and those truths about God. So here's this song. And I said to them, like, particularly the children walked in at that stage, like, imagine this song is the children talking to you. Tell us the old story. Or maybe it's you talking to an older generation. Tell us the old story. Pass on those truths to us. And so the song backed up what I've been saying. How do we do that? You'll know there's a couple of songs that I don't particularly like at the moment. Or at least don't like at certain places. So the I Am Who You Say I Am. Great song. End of a service. I can deal with. And Ollie loves it, which really sucks. No, it's wonderful. I'm so glad Ollie loves that song. It's a lovely song. But yes, as an opening song of I'm getting ready to worship God, I am who you say I am. It seems to be all about me. So I don't like it there. There's another song, King of Kings, that talks about my God has resurrected me. And it's like, no, you haven't resurrected me. You will resurrect me. Oh, Arnie Bron, I'm dropping out for you. I'm sorry. Kylie found last time that, I don't know, you had to not follow the link but open the video or something. I don't know. There's some secret method of getting it on so that you can hear me and I don't. I'll stop being naughty. That was me being naughty. It's a great skill to have, pretending to be dropping out. It's good on phones. What? Drop out. Yeah. Oh. I've got sidetracked, haven't I? Music. working for Kylie. Awesome. So we need to think about what music are we using? How is it backing up the message that we're giving? I like to try and aim that no song is wasted. So like Yeronga, first song on Sunday was Great Is Your Faithfulness. How do we hold on to those stories of faithfulness of God? Then we had prayers of confession. So then we need to refresh my heart, which refresh me, get me ready for the message, then the sermon, into communion, tell us the old story. Then after communion, we did another song. And it took us out into the world. What was I don't know. Doesn't matter. But yeah, how do we think about how do we make sure everything that we're using is actually playing into what we're trying to say, what we're trying to teach? So it's all one coherent message. How do we pick songs? Saying to someone recently, there's been a few comments about, if I wanted to just sing Hillsongs, I'd go to Hillsong. And it's that challenge, I think, of, yes, picking new songs, but also recognising that we are the Uniting Church and we have a certain flavour. And Hillsong has a certain flavour, and their flavour permeates their songs. And that flavour isn't always our flavour. And so how we picking, some great new songs, but great new songs that speak to who we are. And what we as a church stand up for is important, because then we'll teach our people. Again, the whole learning. Oh dear, deep wrong. I'm only getting every third word. Hopefully it's the third word that makes sense. That'd be really interesting to watch. Every third word, what do I say? I have to beat Facebook up or something, make it work. The other thing, again, music helps us to learn. So in the 300s, around 320 AD, there was a guy called Arius. And Arius was a presbyter in Alexandria with Alexander. Alexander was the Bishop of Alexandria. It's my favourite person to remember in history, because I can remember Alexander in Alexandria. Easy peasy. So Arius came up with this teaching that, Jesus isn't God, like he's a similar substance, but he's not the same thing as God. He's the first creation, which didn't go down terribly well, and he was kicked out of Alexandria, and he headed up through sort of Palestine area teaching his things. And to help teach people, he put them to songs, and those lovely little songs got stuck in people's heads and they learnt it. The songs that we sing are important. The way we choose songs are important, because that's what will stick in people's heads. Particularly children's songs. I think I've said before, I've decided that hell will just be all those Sunday school songs over and over. Go on, another round of the B-I-B-L-E. Well, that's the book for me. And then we're going to move into some Colin. Yes, some Colin Buchanan. Let's sing. I shouldn't show all my biases at once, should I? But yeah, how do we use our songs, our music, to back up what we're saying and to reach others? So there's some thinking. How are we coming into worship, whatever that worship that looks like? So for Boys Brigade, as we think about Founders Day, how is that a time of celebration and worship, as opposed to, yes, we've got to say our oath and we've got to do this, and we've got to do that? And there's something for you to think about, Rod. How is the Founder Day celebration on that Friday, the 23rd? Pretend it's the 23rd. It look like I know what I'm talking about. How does that become a celebration? We're celebrating what it means to be Boys Brigade, as opposed to we're going through the rigmarole because we've got to tick this box for the year. How do we, when we come together on Sunday morning, Sunday evening, this is a time for celebrating. We'll try and work it out for you, Arnie Bron, and we'll let you know next Tuesday. Love to you. Hope you're surviving lockdown okay. It's not fun. So how do we make worship times into a celebration, into a time when we're happy and excited to be there? There's a thought. Anyway, I better let you get on. And thank you for joining us. Remember, movie quote for the week: play it again, Sam. Play as time goes by. So if you know where that comes from, write it in the comments. You can win the prize. Ba-ba, ba-ba. Otherwise, see you again next week or during the week or on the weekend. Bye, everybody.